We began by taking every movie we've ever watched and listing them all out by their titles. Then we created 10 tiers and made 10 the best and 1 the worst. And since 5 was in the middle, we decided to consider that our passing line. Anything above a 5 or including a 5 was a pass. Anything below a 5 was a fail. After this, we went through our list and rated each movie using that 1 through 10 scale, and when we were done, we sorted each movie into those 10 tiers based on the score that we gave it. Now, over time, we came across a few movies that were so bad that we didn't even know how to rate them. So we created a section of the list that didn't have a numerical rating, only for those movies that insulted us on a personal level. Finally, we decided to keep track of any new movies that we watched. This means movies that we watched after we created the list. If we had ever seen the movie before creating the list, we didn't count it as one of these movies. These were only post-list movies. And when we watched one of these movies, we gave it a rating and then added it to the bottom of its proper tier, and then we marked it with a symbol that identified it as a post-list movie. And then we decided to go a little deeper. We counted the number of movies in each tier, and then we added up all those tiers to get a total number of movies that we had ever watched, including the post-list movies. Then we used that total to define each tier as a percentage of the whole list. But we weren't done yet. We assigned every movie a point value corresponding to its numerical rating. For example, a movie in the 10th tier got 10 points, a movie in the 9th tier got 9 points, and so on. Adding all those numbers up and then dividing that by the total number of movies on the list gave us the average score of a movie on the list. And we called this our full list average. Remember how we'd been keeping track of all the movies we'd watched since beginning the list, the post-list movies? Well, we decided to create a kind of miniature version of the list that only included the number of post-list movies in each tier. Then we did the same math as before and calculated the average of only those post-list movies and called it our post-list average. After we got that post-list average, we compared it to the full list average, and this helped us understand a few things. One of these being where the list was generally headed. In other words, we were watching significantly worse movies lately, and any new movie we watched was probably going to be worse than stupid. It was going to be outright bad. Now, to make sure these numbers were all as accurate as possible, we needed to keep our list as accurate as possible. We couldn't have any bad movies accidentally sitting in a high tier or good movies in a low tier, so we performed periodic reviews to make sure everything was right where it was supposed to be. On that note, we realized that sometimes a movie might need a rewatch before we could really be sure about its rating. Maybe we hadn't seen it in a long time, or we thought we might have missed something the first time around. So we marked all those movies with a rewatch symbol to remind us that they might need a rewatch. Additionally, we also figured there might be a few movies where a lot of people would disagree with our rating. So when we saw any of those kinds of controversial ratings, we decided to mark those movies to remind us that we do need to explain to people that yes, those movies are in fact not good. And so the years passed, and every 3 days or so we watched a new movie. And slowly we built the world's first official movie ratings list. And now we'd like to invite you to create your own unofficial movie ratings list, and then head over to our website to see how good or bad you are at rating movies. Now, I know that you're probably wondering why we think ourselves so uniquely qualified to create the official movie ratings list. And we do plan on explaining that in the future, but for now it suffices to say that we thought of it first.